3, 2, 1. Whoa. Started a little, kind of like Nebraska season there. That's pretty.
Oh, good one. You've probably been plotting that all weekend, huh?
I'm trying to ease into my shame. That was a good. I did not plan to do a bad crack of the beer. Cheers. Happy football season, by the way.
Happy football season.
Welcome to No Punts Allowed. If this is your first time listening, welcome. Football is back. I say that because I feel like all my friends, by the way, Paige, like,
yes,
now they're like back. Give me the winners. Give me gambling picks. Who did, like, don't steer me wrong. Like, I have all the information. Although we did have a decent week 0 winning week. Started off 0-2, ended up 3-2. But it feels so good to be back, even if Scott Frost never left us.
Yeah. And we obviously made a big announcement last week that we have a sponsor. And I just would like to say that one of us is wearing their municipal gear on the pod today. And you have not gotten yours yet. Well, it arrived today. Sorry.
I have not seen it. It has arrived. I've gotten the picture from my wife that, like, the box is there. I did text her, like, hey, open it up. I want to see the goods. Because I'll be sporting that here. That sounded like kind of sexual and aggressive, and not in that way. I want to see the merchandise from the package, which also sounds sexual. But
I'm going to stop you. I just think it's kind of funny.
I'm going to be wearing a municipal shirt.
Okay. I mean, you know who their favorite co-host is, because I've had mine for a while now, and I've worn most of it. Like, actually, I've worn all of it. I was really excited. I got it. I got some of the stuff that's not released yet, so I'm pretty excited about that.
You're like a beta for them,
right? I'm super excited.
Yes.
And I love it because it's all amazing. So I'm looking forward to being able to share all of that with all of you. But we do have something to share with all of you. You get a discount.
Yes, please.
Woohoo!
Go. Yes.
We've got it, and it's No Punts 20.
Easy, right?
Go shop.
I won't even screw that up. If you like to work out, if you like to have a beer after you work out, if you like to work out and have a beer at the same time, I've done it before, Paige. Post-college and everything else.
I have too.
Yeah. It's a lifestyle. It's everything. It's what I stand for, by the way, as I'm looking for this giant bottle
it's
of
what I
Hibiki
stand
next
for.
to me. Yeah.
So behind the curtain, here we go again. Adam said to me that he wanted to take a shot on this episode, so I'm going to let him. Although I did notice on our episode last week, the buzz start to kick in later in the episode. So for both of us, mostly for me, because I can tell in my own voice. But
Just
week 1, got to do shots. So last week we eased into it. We popped bottles, and now we're taking shots. This is really an aggressive moving podcast.
Yeah. So have you ever had Hibiki?
No, I've not.
I'm not even much of a whiskey person, but
I love whiskey.
This is pretty aggressive now. I think about it with the can crack and the whiskey within the first 8 minutes of a pod. But you know what? Cheers to football. Cheers to you.
Cheers to football. I'm impressed that you took a shot.
In my Golden Tee World Championship cup. That's
right.
Classy.
I think maybe the reason you needed to take a shot is because you knew that you were not going to survive this podcast without just being absolutely roasted. And we're going to start with Nebraska because Jason did ask me to take it easy on you. And honestly, no, that's just not how it works here.
No.
And to be fair, though, I did bet with you on that game specifically, but I wasn't the one who's like completely bought in on their win total and completely bought in on the team as a whole. So, I mean, what do you have to say for yourself, and also kind of walk us through what Saturday was like for you?
So my neighbor Jason was in Ireland for the game. Sorry, Jason, that's tough. So, but here's the thing: watching it, first and foremost, like that first Nebraska drive was amazing. It was like all of the warts and the issues and all of it was gone for about 4 minutes, and then they just Nebraska things. So, give Northwestern some credit. Like I thought they played really well, and that was like the vintage Northwestern game. But it's wild that even with all the changes at Nebraska, this shit continues to happen. Like it's wild to me. And that onside kick we have to talk about. Like that was like galactically stupid. Up double digits, all the momentum, whether you believe in momentum or not, I don't care. Why do that, Paige? Why do that? Like, you can point to that and say that really did like change the game. It did. Yeah. Like that absolutely, you could argue, lost them the football game.
Yeah, well, and he doubled down on it too after the game and said that he would have made that decision again, which I think is hilarious. It's so strange to me in sports when people can't be like, you know what, that wasn't the right call. Maybe I should have done something different and we'll try and be better next time. Like, I would respect that 1,000 times more than you trying to double down on your mistake.
I'm going to do stupid shit again. Give me one more chance and I will do something dumb. Like, I'm with you. Like,
I much rather that be the case. Like, 1,000%. But I felt bad because I was relishing in the pain of Nebraska. I was rooting for Northwestern the whole time, even though I bet Nebraska. But I was like, you know what?
For the content.
For the content. I love this. And you weren't the only one. I mean, on our work chat, somebody sent like, riding the high, already buying in on my Nebraska future. And I was like, all right, well, that lasted for 2 seconds.
Poor Brett McMurphy was really bragging about it. We put him in his top 25 and then just got absolutely...
that was so good. That was
oh my
so
God.
good.
Poor sources got absolutely obliterated. Obliterated after that.
The content was so good and college football was like fully ready for it in week 0. We should have known. Like, there's no such thing as like a normal weekend of football where it's very chalk. And I think too, when you have like large spreads like that, there were a lot of interesting games that were a lot closer than we would have expected that usually were blowouts the year before or things like that. But I do want to talk a little bit about the situation where the Wi-Fi went down in Ireland at the stadium and they were giving out free beer. And then another tweet said that they were asking people to write down their names so they could come back to pay for their beer. Like that was actually going to happen. Yeah. But shout out the people of Ireland for being like incredibly hospitable and being like, you know what, this is down. We're going to give you all the beer. And the lines were nuts. We got the snake with all the cups like we were in America. It was great. I really love that. And I also tweeted a suggestion. If you are struggling with getting butts in seats, Arizona, maybe free beer for maybe free beer for a quarter. Like a specific for the fourth quarter, free beer.
It's a smart. I like it.
I feel like you would do well. Like I feel like you would sell more tickets if you did free beer for the fourth quarter. So you make people stay for the fourth quarter and get as much in like challenge accepted and no big deal. If they're super drunk, they're gonna go home. It's the fourth quarter.
Wait until Nick Saban this week. You know, by the end of the third quarter, the stands are probably going to be empty. Spread's like 40 points against Utah State, who struggled with UConn for a while. And then next week, he'll have his little mini kind of baby rant of like, you know, we want our fans supporting us the full 4 quarters, which he does like kind of every year.
Okay, I see how it is. So I come for you in Nebraska, and you have to come for me in mine.
No, his yes,
I'm just teasing you.
I have no, but to the greater point of this. You and I did a live show with BR Betting last week, in which I was like all in. I've been all in on Nebraska, not to win like the title or anything, but to win 8 or 9 games. And this is a horrible start. Like it's just horrible. Like, and there's no excuse, and it's the same thing. And there might be some discontent with with Mark Whipple already. Scott Frost is saying he doesn't have a problem with it. Like, what a disaster. Like, what a disaster. But I want to hit a couple quick week 0 things. Did you watch Hawaii Vanderbilt?
Of course
did you watch?
Yeah, because it's not that late for me.
That's true. I watched it too until I had the over. I had a good night. Good North Texas, New Mexico State under, which was so under, incredibly under, and then the over. Hawaii is going to be like real bad this year.
Yeah.
Like I feel for Hawaii, and I like the hire. They hired a legend in Timmy Chang, who we watched play quarterback for many years. Vandy was averaging like 10 yards a rush. Vandy was averaging like Hawaii might be UConn levels of bad this year.
Yeah.
That was, oh my God, was that bad?
It was sad. kind of, because I feel like we're so used to that being such a fun late night thing because of the time difference. And it did not particularly deliver and was a little depressing, but also shout out Vanderbilt. That's super exciting for them.
Yeah, that wasn't. Hawaii this week, by the way, also the degenerate game in week 1. Western Kentucky almost lost to like a really bad team, and they are a 15.5 point road favorite this week. Like, Hawaii, I am sorry. Thinking about you. I'm still going to watch your late football games. I love them with all my heart. But, oh my God, it's going to be painful. There's going to be some huge spreads.
Yeah. Yeah. Week 0 really delivered. I think college football Twitter really delivered on week 0. Very proud of everyone for the memes, the trolling, all of it, the betting disasters. I could see people were really going through it with the gambling. Yes. I mean, I didn't have a particularly great weekend. But hey, at least I'm not Nebraska, you know?
Okay. I want this episode's going to be largely about week 1 and season stuff, but there's a couple like items. One of this just happened before we were supposed to record, which is a transfer window was announced. So this is Nicole Auerbach. I'm just reading. Basically, there's a 45-day transfer window after championship selections are made in their sport, or May 1st, May 15th. So essentially what they're doing, you could still play right away. They're not changing that. But for the fall sports, and that's, there's other windows obviously for spring and winter, you've got a select period. I think this is really smart. We'd like to shit all over the NCAA a lot and college football as a whole with what they do. Is this going to stop things? No, but it's going to at least contain the madness a little bit. So you had to do something like this. I don't even think it's that surprising, but they had to do something. So I'm glad there's a transfer window. It's going to help coaches. It's going to help players, roster management, you name it. This was like a no-brainer.
Yeah, I think one of the big things we talked about with the transfer portal is that it does affect the kids coming in and making the decisions on where they want to go to school. Yes. And out of high school, I should say. And it's frustrating for teams and coaches and everything, like you said, for roster management to sort of like be full in on a recruit, know who's coming from where, who's going to be available. This helps give it a time frame where you can organize it. Honestly, it makes it a lot easier for us to follow and make sure we know who's going where and by when there's a deadline of like, okay, this person has to stay there. I appreciate this. And I think it's one of the better things to come out of like all of the chaos. We finally got a rule that actually means something and will be very useful for the future.
So me too. Like, we don't have to hate on everything that they announce in terms of rules.
Yeah. So the NCAA, you're welcome for saying you did a good job. Good job, guys. You did it.
Now allow us to get pissed off at targeting calls, like starting now, essentially. Yeah. But other happenings around football, Michigan, biblical quarterback. This is another thing I'm sure you want to. I am the resident usual Jim Harbaugh homer. So go ahead. Your thoughts on basically Michigan doing a merry-go-round at quarterback?
My favorite thing was, so on Saturday, Michigan's put out a tweet and it says, "We've made a decision." Okay. And in reality, they didn't make a decision. Their decision is that each of their quarterbacks is going to play one game and then they will decide on a starting quarterback. Jim Harbaugh then in a press conference said it actually wasn't indecision. It was based on Solomon from the Bible. He didn't give detail on exactly why. I don't know if that's on the internet. I'm sure it is. But to the point of, this is very Harbaugh-esque in terms of decision making. This is hilarious that it says we made a decision, even though, yes, it's a decision, but it's not really a quarterback decision. So I just found that very humorous. And also I think they were trying to like hide it in the like Saturday spectacle. They're like, oh, okay, we'll toss it out there. We'll see what happens. And everyone was like, oh, the decision that's not a decision. But also it makes me really nervous because here we go again. Decision making is the number one critique that I have of Jim Harbaugh in terms of like play calls and everything. In terms of what he does.
There's more than that.
There's a lot. But this specifically, keeping it to football, this is questionable. And I don't know. How would you feel if you were a quarterback in this position? I mean, I don't know that I'd be super mad at it because you still have the chance to win it. But I feel like if he knows and he's just doing it to appease the other guy, like that would sort of piss me off a little.
So I'm torn. I'm not going to defend it, but I think both quarterbacks are pretty good. Like
Yes.
and you actually don't get this anymore because of the transfer portal.
Mm-hmm.
Like these situations are kind of gone. It feels like for the most part. I don't know. Maybe at A&M.
It's settled a little bit, but
but so I thought that this was going to be a mess. I also don't necessarily. Normally, you say like if you have 2 quarterbacks, you have none. Like I think Michigan actually genuinely has 2 quarterbacks. Like I really do. So, but granted, this is probably not great. You got to let a dude play, and feel comfortable and thrive. So now their schedule sucks in the start of the season. No offense, Colorado State or Hawaii. Ugh, that's gonna be bad. So I don't know. I don't have a huge problem with this because I do think it will sort itself out. But it does feel very Jim Harbaugh. Like that is undeniable in all this.
Yeah, but this is my biggest thing with like Brian Kelly at Notre Dame. Like I always felt like that Notre Dame never picked a quarterback. Like I felt like yes they had like Ian Book eventually, but like for years it was going back and forth between some guys and really not instill. And I feel like when you are a college football playoff team, you need to have a guy. And I just feel like this is a little wishy-washy, and I'm nervous that this isn't going to just be decided. I'm nervous that this is going to filter into the year and there's going to be changes made throughout the year based on like Harbaugh not wanting to make the wrong decision, and in that making the wrong decision by not picking one quarterback and sticking with it.
I want to pivot this rant for a moment, and coaches not providing depth charts. Steve Sarkisian said, like flat out, he's not going to provide one. Like this is Michigan's situation's different. At least they're like, we've made a decision. There is no decision. Like Texas is flat out just not giving people a depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
Alabama's doing one, and Steve Sarkisian's not alone. Are we still this insecure where you can't tell me who's going to play right guard, Steve? Is that where we are with this?
So I'm not defending it, but I also understand it because I understand the nature of what people think when they look at depth charts and they freak out and make all these things. Do I think that it needs to be about the right guard? No. But do I think when it comes to quarterbacks, do I think when it comes to all kinds of things, it gets frustrating. But also, did you look at the Alabama depth chart?
I did.
Shoosh.
Yeah.
That is quite the that's quite the roster.
I did. It is quite the roster. It is quite the roster. Wideouts are interesting beyond Burton. I kind of see what you're saying. Depth charts it's like they're useless. It's like a budget. Like if you have a budget for work or your house, like it's good for a month and then you're like, okay, this budget's not going to be for our year. Like we're going to do a new budget. So a depth chart obviously going to change. This time of year, the insecurities of like the quarterback we trot out there is going to be the starter. It's like, okay, way to go, buddy. That's great news. You know what would be better if you had a very competent quarterback that like we knew was going to be the starter. What's odd about this though is Steve Sarkisian did name a starting quarterback.
Yeah.
He just doesn't want to name, and I don't want to rip just on him. A lot of coaches are doing this now. This is kind of a thing to do, that just say like, we're going to be very secretive. You're not going to know who our middle linebacker is until Saturday. Like, okay, fine.
So I know this is a college football podcast, but I also maybe the reason I have a soft spot for this particular subject is because the 49ers are keeping Jimmy Garoppolo, and they've made it clear that Trey Lance is their quarterback, but they have Jimmy Garoppolo. And people are like, well, that's not, like, how would you feel if you were Trey Lance and they reworked his deal to keep him and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you guys, I understand it. They're saying it's Trey Lance's team. It is Trey's team. I don't think that they are worried that Trey is going to be bad or a bust. I have to say that because I really want I want him to be good. That's who I wanted us to pick. So I was very pleased with that. But I don't think that keeping Jimmy Garoppolo is like a fix to all of that. Do I know that he can get us to a Super Bowl? Sure. But anyway, I digress. I think that the backup quarterback situation is a very strange one, whether it's in the NFL or in college football. But yeah, I think this year we have definitely had a lot of spicy coach moments, a lot of coach in the media moments. And the head coach of Notre Dame was told in the press conference that what the spread was against Ohio State. And he said, what was it? Because I want to make that like bulletin board material for this week. Now I'm a little nervous about that. I mean, I'm still betting on Ohio State, but I think it's hilarious that gambling is now filtering into these like weekly pressers where they're talking about these things and being used as bulletin board material. Vegas doesn't believe in you. You believe in you.
I've got to be careful with how I word this.
Okay.
I don't want to call Marcus Freeman a liar. He knew the point spread. Okay? He knew the point spread.
Why are you... That's an interesting take.
The coaches, maybe he didn't, but his kids know the point spread.
Yeah.
They know it. So, like, this ain't... What I want to just say real quick.
Yes.
Coaches know this shit. They do. Most of them are not only aware of it, they're deeply aware of it. And they've been aware of it for a while. This comes up every year when coaches like maybe don't cover the spread or don't go over. A lot of these coaches know. And they want to cover for their boosters. And this stuff has been around for a long time. Coaches know the spread for the most part. Maybe he didn't.
I will agree
I really
with
like
you.
Marcus
I will
Freeman.
agree with you. I like Marcus Freeman too. And I think that maybe... you're right, but maybe he was doing it to make it more of bulletin board material.
It's good theater. He had a good line.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to say this in here so the guys in my locker room know that I'm aware of this. Yeah, we want to use this and show people and kind of like fire them up that way by saying it publicly instead of just saying it with them in there. So yeah, I kind of like it in terms of like trying to fire up your guys. But you're right. These
coaches, like, they're very online now, most of them. Even Nick Saban is sending text messages.
Well, they have guys. Let's just say they're probably not online, but they have guys that are collecting or girls that are collecting all this info for them and sharing it.
They know. And so in instances, this happens every year too, where they're like, what's the spread? Oh, it's that? Like, I remember like this happens like, we've seen this across the board, and it's usually early and everything else, and you'll see it pre and post games. I think they know now. Like, it's kind of a big deal. This is their life. If somebody is projecting you to either be really good or really bad at some point, you're probably going to obtain that information at your house, on the internet, with your friends, with your player, and the players definitely know. 17 points, now it's at 17. It was at 17 and a half. I'm really interested to see where it lands. Marcus Freeman seems like he's very with it. He's very online. He's a great recruiter. He's like all of these things. But it was good theater. Like he did a nice, if that was a routine, I thought he did a nice job in nailing the routine.
Yeah.
I said I didn't want to rip on Marcus Freeman. I feel like I just spent 2 minutes.
That's okay. No. I will say I do hope that they lose by whatever the point spread is, because then I can sprinkle a little bit more on my playoff bet for them.
Yes. This was a 10-1, correct, to make the playoffs. You are in on, so you have them. Well, we'll talk week 1. I don't want to spoil that, but you have them making the playoffs at 10-1.
Yes, that is one of the bets that I chose. One that you are not all in on, but in support of.
Yes, is
Kansas's win total, which is 2.5, and a bettor put $10,000 on this to win. I think it's like 7,800. I mean, 7,400. Okay. Thoughts?
Well, okay. So on our live stream, we went pretty much kind of quickly game by game. And I believe I called the Tennessee Tech game must win. You've got Tennessee Tech, and you've got a home game with Duke. Then you got to figure out a third, right? At West Virginia, doesn't feel like the game. At Houston, no. Iowa State at home? TCU at home?
No.
At Oklahoma, at Baylor, Oklahoma State, at Texas Tech. That's a really rough stretch of games. So they need to find a way to beat one of those teams. I do think they're going to be better. Would I put $10,000 on it? No. I would not. But God bless the person that did. Bless you.
Thank
you. That was like a dab on the YouTube. Like it was like a no, but I mean, I'm just saying you like
YouTube. Oh, good God.
Is that some dad? Like it was though. It was a strong dab. Like if we could replay that, I could have said it a little less dad like.
That looked like a dab.
It was. I mean, people still dab, right?
No.
2 years ago, 2.5 years ago.
Yeah, if you still dab, Stop.
Apparently inadvertent dab. But I don't know what to do with Kansas other than
I'm not betting on it. I can tell you that.
Go. No, actually, I don't think they'll be, because does that Tennessee? You get some wild ass point spreads on these, these early cupcake games. I don't see one now, but I will search for one in case you want to bet Kansas
versus this week's game.
There's going to be offshore. I'll find one here.
There's going to be offshore. All right, let's roll into actual week 1 stuff, starting with Ohio State, Notre Dame.
Yes.
I sort of said, look, I do think this Notre Dame team is playoff bound, but I don't think that, I think they're able to lose this game. It's a quality loss at the beginning of the year and still manage to have a great season. Ohio State, I think, rolls away with this one because they've got, I think I watched the line change on national championship futures for Ohio State after this game is kind of what I'm looking at.
Yes, I think this is a really tough ask for Notre Dame. Mm-hmm. You get a new quarterback who could be pretty good, by the way. And you've got a great tight end. The only position advantage, you could make 2 arguments potentially, maybe defensive line and tight end for Notre Dame. But I'd argue that the Ohio State defensive line is going to be a lot better. Everywhere else, Ohio State, I think, is better. And maybe corner. Again, Notre Dame defensively, I think, is going to be really good. Offensive line, too, another one where they're going to be solid. I just don't know how they keep up. And the home field is huge, too, Paige. Like, this is, God bless these teams for playing this on a campus, first and foremost. Thank you.
Yep.
But that's a big part of this. This place is going to be nuts. I don't know if we've officially made our picks. Are we doing that today for the national championship? I could spoil mine. It's Ohio State. Like, I think they win this game. I think this point spread, whether Marcus Freeman knew it or not, is very telling. I don't necessarily, the point spread is telling. I don't necessarily feel really good about the line. This isn't one of my picks and pints games. I kind of shy away from these early games because weird stuff happens. It just feels like Ohio State, from Stroud to the wideouts to Henderson, and then add in the defense that's going to be light years better. They were like number 39 in scoring defense last year. They're going to be so much better. I think they're going to be a brutal team to deal with, especially at home.
Yeah, my national championship pick is Alabama, obviously. So we're probably going to end up with Ohio State and Alabama in the national championship again. You and I going head to head in terms of picks. But I think with Ohio State, a lot of people remember the start of the year they had last year and will maybe shy away from taking that line. And I think Notre Dame has a lot to prove, so I could see it being closer. But I really think Ohio State's going to come out as a well-oiled machine. I don't think we're going to see as much of the struggle as we did last year early on. So I'm looking forward to this game a lot.
It's a really good test. It's a really interesting test. And if you love great environments, this is it. This is what I'm most excited about. Is this one of your picks and pints?
Yes.
Do you have anything in this? Okay. All right, good.
I do.
I will leave it alone then. Let's hit on a bunch of games. This game has given me fits. It has given me fits, and that is Oregon and Georgia. So you have the former DC and Dan Lanning now with Oregon. You have an Oregon defense that's going to be really good. I think it's going to be really good. They were all banged up last year. They lost Thibodeau, but I still think they're going to be really good. And you have Georgia without 15 players who were drafted. 15, which is insane. I mean, that's a lot.
Yep.
So this line now, which is 17 and a half, I think. Last time I checked, it's at 17. 17. So it's amazing. These 2 big games have, spreads of 2.5 touchdowns. We're just assuming that Georgia's ready to be Alabama, right? And this is where I struggle with this game, in that you can lose an abundance of talent and you just are fine. Paige, so the last time we saw a football game, with, exception of week 0, didn't happen because of the whole Nebraska thing. We were watching Stetson Bennett become Superman, not get benched, become Superman in the second half. Mm-hmm. I don't know if he does that again. That's my problem with this Georgia team, is I don't know what they're doing there. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if Stetson Bennett isn't the starter. I wouldn't be surprised if they go to another dude at some point. So I'm a little lost on this game, except I do have it in my picks and pints in some shape or form. So what do you think here?
I think this is going to be a much closer game than people think. I could even see an upset situation.
Oh.
And this is why. I think that Georgia is definitely overlooking Oregon. Like you said, they lost a lot of pieces. Yes, they reloaded, much like the Alabama way, but consistency is key here, and we're not really sure what we're going to get in terms of the next step for Georgia, and if they can do the Alabama way and continue to reload, continue to be successful. And like you said, quarterback situation, sort of don't have a ton of faith in it. I think that Oregon has an excellent defense. So I know, and the other part of this is that I think something we talked about in the offseason was that there was a lot of like rumor that like Dan Lanning wasn't everyone's first choice in the Oregon realm, and like a lot of people weren't excited about this. And I feel like they've really buttoned it up, figured it out, and I think it's going to be a close game. But if I was going to pick, like, out of the big games that we have this weekend, if I was going to pick an upset, I would pick this one.
My problem with that, I don't disagree with anything you're saying, by the way.
It would be okay if you did.
No, but I'm torn on this game. But I do have an angle. I just wish I had more confidence in the Oregon offense because it lost a lot too. But but I do think we're just kind of assuming that Georgia is just going to replace everybody, and they have some people and be fine. Like, I think that's a little, and it's actually a perfect segue to the next game, but I think that's a little premature. So let's go to, I think there's a slew of games that I want to just talk about, even if it's brief moments. But the other one that I'm really excited about is Cincinnati at Arkansas. Cincinnati is not equipped to beat Georgia and lose. Paige, I forgot how much they lost. You lost your quarterback.
Yeah.
You lost your running back. You lost your best wide receiver. You lost your two best corners, including a dude that was like, go Jets, sauce, let's do it. You lost defensive linemen. You lost linebacker. Like, Cincinnati, I think, had 9 players drafted and 5 in the top 100. I know this because I'm writing Locks of the Week, and I'm like, wow, how does Adam know this without looking? No, research. That is all a precursor to say, I think this is a really tough spot for, you can be Georgia, you can be Alabama, and you can recruit 4 and 5 stars. Cincinnati just isn't doing it yet. That's not a knock. It's just not who they are. Mm-hmm. So I think it's a really tall assignment to play Arkansas, which is well coached. KJ Jefferson's going to be really good, we think, if he could stay healthy. They lose Burks, the wide receiver. That's a big loss. But, like, I think it's a lot to ask for Cincinnati. If they win this game, like, Luke Fickell forever. Like, that dude is still in place, by the way. We've rumored him to every job, USC and Notre Dame, but he stayed here for this before the Big 12. I think this is a really big assignment for them, but I'm interested to see what happens.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a fun game. I don't know if you remember the Ole Miss Arkansas game last year, but I feel like it's going to be a little wonky like that one, and come down to some 2-point conversions or something, or extra points. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where Cincinnati is at. Like, I think that's going to be the big thing, is just seeing where they're at. We know Arkansas is going to be good. We actually know that they'll be, like, relatively competitive in the SEC. Like, I think they're going to upset some teams this year that people don't expect them to beat. But yeah, it's going to be a little bit of a grind, and I think it's going to be a fun one and end on, like, a final play, if I had to guess.
I want to go up and down the slate of games. I'm looking at the schedule right now, and I just want to look at games that may be of interest. Now, we're recording this on a Wednesday. People will listen to this on a Thursday. We have West Virginia, Pittsburgh on Thursday, which is all sorts of interesting with JT Daniels. You have Penn State, Purdue. I've got takes on that game, but I'm going to save them for a little bit. Is this doing anything for you so far?
I mean, I am trying to look at the schedule and see what days of the week everything is tomorrow.
There's games.
There are so many games. Okay.
So Friday night, well, we get to Thursday. I'm just saying Thursday night.
Thursday is.
Yeah, you got Oklahoma State in action, who I'm excited to see. But Penn West Virginia Pitt is actually good, and Penn State is Purdue is a monstrous. Friday night, Paige, you ready for this? Illinois versus
Indiana. Oh my gosh.
My parents are coming in town this week, and like I love this weekend of the year because they're just embarrassed at the football games I want to watch. Friday night we will have Mets Nationals, Mets fans in the house. We'll have Illinois and Indiana. Kansas versus Duke. Tennessee Tech, by the way. I did get a point spread on that game. It's 27.5 for Kansas.
Temple versus Duke.
Yes. So
wow.
Let's go to Saturday. 11 a.m. slate. We're not going to do this every week. This is the sickos slate, okay? This is the sickos, which is 11 a.m. slate is always that. You have A&M versus Sam Houston. NC State at East Carolina, Paige, is a game that I am struggling with as a bettor.
Oh, wow.
Are you there? It's only, I want to update the spread here. It was
11.5.
Okay, so it's 11.5. So I have, it's like a tradition for whatever reason. I bet on East Carolina. You know this from last year. I bet on them. It feels like every week. It was not a profitable venture for me. They're a lot better though. They are a lot better. So East Carolina, Iowa versus South Dakota State. If you're into that sort of thing, can I interest you in Boston College at home versus Rutgers?
You can interest me in North Carolina App State.
That I've got thoughts on that game, and I think you do too.
Oh man, there are a lot of good games.
So 2:30 slate.
It's so funny to me though that like I'm looking at the spreads here. It's like it's either like 20 points or like 4. Like yes. It is very, very.
Week one. You know what the other thing I love about week one is like when. All right, I'll give you an example of a game. Oklahoma UTEP. Right? Oklahoma minus 31.5. Oklahoma somehow goes down 10-0. And we're like, oh boy. Like the internet, college football Twitter gets like on guard. Like
yes.
And sometimes shit happens where they lose. Like there will be a team with a monstrous spread that will lose. And so we're like hoping for, we are both, children of chaos. I know you appreciate chaos like I do. Mm-hmm. 2:30 slate. Now this is a beefy slate of football games. And also Arizona plays. Oregon, Georgia is at 2:30. You've got Cincinnati, Arkansas. You've got Houston versus UTSA, which is an awesome game. And of course, Arizona versus San Diego State. Paige, I like Arizona in this game. This is not a Picks and Pints.
You are the second person to tell me that. Also, it's confusing me that you're saying times because we're in different time zones. So I'm like looking at it and I'm like 12:30.
Yeah. 12:30. Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm looking at God's time zone.
But
God's time zone.
We do have something exciting for the group.
Yes.
That goes along with our sponsorship with Municipal. We are going to be doing giveaways. And every Saturday, you guys know that we do Picks and Pints. We love the gambling aspect of things, but we are going to be asking you to pick one college football upset and give us that upset, your best underdog upset of the week, and give us a final score projection so that we can divide it up via tiebreaker.
Yes.
We're going to have you tweet hashtag. I think what did we decide on?
Game day upsets.
Okay.
So Municipal's line, they have a game day line, and you're nailed it. It's now I'm like like everybody with rules. Like, what's the biggest upset? If this is my pet peeve. You ready for this? So when you have like a team that's ranked higher in the AP poll that is actually an underdog to a team ranked below it or an unranked, that is not an upset. This is point spread driven. Of course it is. We are degenerates.
Point spread
given.
Not
so
ranking
if you have
driven.
An upset, no, you are your example. Oregon would be a great one.
Yes.
Oregon would be game day upset city. So tag the pod, tag us, just use the hashtag. We wanted to make something, we talked with Municipal about, we wanted something easy. We were going to do a pick contest. We want something that if you're hungover, you wake up and you're hungover, or you're out doing like family stuff with kids, which usually I am Saturday morning, maybe hungover. You can do it. You can throw in the hashtag, you can make your pick, and then boom, you're in line for obviously one pick only.
Yeah.
Free merch?
We will
Good
send
free
you
merch.
Yeah, it's quality stuff.
Allegedly.
we will pick winners on Sundays. I think this week we should wait until games are over in case people have picks for Monday. Who knows? What is it, Georgia Tech? Are we going to get a...
Yes, no, but we got like Florida State, LSU, which I think you're getting involved in, and I think I might be getting involved in. So game day upsets. We're super excited. Again, the fun part about the municipal partnership, which is easy for me to say, is not the alcohol, just me being bad at words, is like fun, organic things that we can actually get some involvement from you guys in for just listening and hanging out. So
and really we love hearing your guys's. We love seeing that you're degenerates like us. So feel free to shoot us that with the hashtag Game Day Upsets and the final score prediction for a tiebreaker, and we will pick a winner on that Tuesday. Yes,
I have to actually. We can't win, but I'm going to make my pick by the time this rolls out. I haven't done it yet.
Okay.
Because I feel like I'm a little chalky.
You can't make a burner account and win.
No. Yes, please, no burners. That was a perfect segue in terms of the timing. Other slate items. So the 2:30 slate is loaded. You've got BYU versus South Florida. Paige, the line is only 12, and South Florida has been really bad. It's another game that's kind of given me... I get weird vibes. I'm just saying that. I'm getting weird vibes. You've got Lincoln Riley debuting at 5 o'clock Central Time on the Pac-12 network, which I don't get, which is...
I don't either.
I'll find a way to stream it illegally.
I will.
You've got you punching whatever you just punched.
I just knocked the table schedule that all my stuff is on. I'm really having a tough day sneezing.
It's all right. I didn't see if you dabbed or not. I'm going to say no. Utah, Florida. Let's talk about this game.
Yes.
I'm again, like most games in week 1 where I need to see things, kind of struggling. I think that this point spread should be larger than 3. Do you care? Like, where are you at with this game?
Yeah, I don't know if I picked it as a lock, but I might add that into like an extra lock for the week.
Ooh.
And take Utah. I mean, that's actually, if I were a coach, Kyle Whittingham, God, that guy annoys me. But anyway, if I were him, that's what I would be using, is that this is the disrespect that you are getting because nobody believes in Utah. I mean, obviously they're picked to win in this and they're a favorite, but by 3 points.
Yeah, for a team.
That's a joke. This is going to be this is going to be a beatdown. I don't think Florida's even competitive in this game.
Everyone's saying the heat, the travel.
No. Oh my gosh. Come on. When you play at altitude like that, nothing else matters. Like, you'll be fine. You'll figure it out.
That's a good assessment. You'll figure it out, Utah.
They will. I'm not even slightly worried.
No notes. I don't know what to do with this game, honestly. I'd rather talk about the other. Yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, in terms of betting, I totally get like being confused on this, but if you watch football and know, that's the problem, is people don't watch enough Utah football to know.
Did you see, speaking of football in Florida, Dan Mullen released his Heisman list today. Dan Mullen, now formerly of Utah. I'm going to pull it up so I can actually see. Formerly of Florida. Oh boy. I'm going to just leave it at that. Had his Heisman sleepers.
Is he Anthony on Richardson. CBS now?
I don't know. He'll be good on TV. He has nothing in his Twitter profile. Literally nothing.
Okay, what were his Heisman picks?
Well, no, it's funny that he picks Will Anderson as his favorite. Can't hate that. CJ Stroud, Bryce Young. Very chalky. Mm-hmm. Heisman sleepers. Cam Rising from Utah. Anthony Richardson, who, why is that funny? Because Florida fans were like begging him to play him more last year. Like begging him. So like it's an odd, there's just something kind of hilarious there. I don't disagree with him, by the way. I think you can make a case like that's an interesting pick if things go right. He's 240 pounds and he's super athletic and like he has a really good coach. So I don't necessarily hate it. I just think the person making the pick is pretty hilarious.
You think a part of him maybe is like, 1, happy he's not coaching that game, but 2, also putting Cam in there so that he's like, well, they play against a really good team. So he's trying to make it a quality loss for Florida.
Yes.
Which is fair.
No, which is fair. One of my sneaky games that no one will watch that I'm excited to watch is Army Coastal Carolina. Really good game. Both these teams have been really good for the last couple of years. I think the spread's 2 now. Yeah. Coastal Carolina. That's a really fun game. Utah State, Alabama. I know you'll be watching. 41.5. One of us on this pod may have content out in the next week or so about an Alabama player.
Technically, it's both of us. I'm just kidding.
That's actually true. It is both of us. Yes. No, but we're
guys,
working
we
on
have a Will Anderson feature.
It's going to be awesome. It's so much fun to be writing features again about an awesome player. So I don't think Utah State won 11 games and this spread is 41. Like, that is like wild. They also looked like shit against UConn. Do you have any thoughts on this game?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to have the season that they had last year. I think it is clear that things have gone a little rough.
I'm just keep going down the slate. I love football.
Yeah, I know you do.
I just
we should get to pick. Let's get to real picks and pints. Or do you have any other ones?
No, not really. The rest game. Let's just go the late night degenerate slate. Boise State, Oregon State, kind of fun. Kent State, Washington, not really. Western Kentucky, Hawaii.
What's the spread on Oregon State?
It is 2.5 Oregon State. It's a pretty good game.
Wow.
9:30 start. Yeah.
I'm actually surprised that they're the favorite. I would agree with that, but I'm surprised.
I've bet them a lot too. But I'm struggling with that game. All right, picks and pints. So are we going to actually keep track this year?
Yeah, we are. We're keeping score.
We're keeping score. Okay, we're keeping score. I think that I felt like last year when one of us was, it was weird. Some weeks you and I were in total lockstep where we were like similar. This year, by the way, so people know behind the curtain, we put in picks very late. I don't know if you were doing that on purpose.
Yeah, I told you. Remember last week I said on the episode, let's make sure we put them in late so that we're not doing like the same games. Let's really try and have our own bets this year.
So when I do locks of the week for Bleacher Report, which will come out tomorrow, I have 5 games that I feature, which are the games I like, and then like 4 others that I'm picking. I take my 5 feature games and throw them in here. So these have been done. So I did not alter these at all. I did see yours come in first. We do have some similarities. You lead us off. This is a brand new, by the way, Daisy Cutter. Now I have to start getting creative with the beer.
Yeah.
Daisy Cutter is, again, Chicago, Big Ten, you name it, Homer. Let's do it. What do you got?
Let's start with App State UNC. I am taking App State to win the game. And obviously I believe you have a similar bet.
Yes. We are simpatico. Now, this point spread's done some weird stuff. UNC, App State was favored early this week. Now UNC back. I wasn't all that impressed with UNC last week.
No.
They did play.
Not at all.
They were playing a team like without 25 ineligible players and new quarterback. They've got a great receiver in Downs, but this is not where you want to start a season. I looked it up, Paige. App State's lost like 2 games at home in like 4 years.
Yep.
Like they are tough. So we're in line here.
Yes.
Like one for one.
1 for 1.
Okay.
I'm trying to see which ones we have the same. Let's have you talk about your first pick that's on here.
Okay, so I need a ruling from you. Okay. I actually bet this game 2 days ago. Mm-hmm. Mississippi State minus 14 versus Memphis. The spread is up to 16. So I have it at 14 on my ticket. I don't know what I'm going to do locks of the week, by the way, because the locks of the week I already wrote it. I have it as 14. I think I'm going to have to change it to 16 there. I think we have to make a rule that at the time of recording, that's what the line is.
Okay. So are you going to make it 16?
I will make it 16.
And you are still going with Mississippi State minus 16.
I am still going. This game last year was really close. I think we're kind of sleeping on Mississippi State a little bit. Like I haven't heard a peep out there. They have their quarterback back. I mean, they were pretty good last year. They beat the hell out of NC State. They had a brutal schedule. Mike Leach, I think Memphis is a team in transition. I think it's going to be a good year for them. That is a team I'm actually excited to see. But I will take 16, even though I locked them in at 14.
Okay. I mean, I think that's fair. If anyone's going to run up a score, it's going to be Leach. So
yes,
I think it's a safe, large spread lock.
Yes.
I'll give it to you.
Okay. What do you got?
Let's see. What other things do we have? Let's go LSU -3 versus Florida State. I think that's a lock. Cash money. I don't think Florida State's any good. I don't think LSU is going to be as bad as they were last year. I think they're going to make a step in the right direction. I know we're still unsure what we're going to see from them, but I have faith that they're going to win that game pretty solidly.
I kind of leaned a little Florida State, but not good enough to make it a lock. This is a no play for me. It's an awesome game. It's a game that's like Mike Norvell kind of needs to win this, doesn't he? They played last week too, by the way. They had like weather delays.
Yeah.
And, he could use this one. I'll say that.
I mean, do you really think that he's on the hot seat because like they're paying so many coaches not to coach for them at this point? It feels like.
I think they.
I feel like
yes, because I think Dion is like waiting in the wings. I think that they're like, but I don't know. Like LSU, my only concern with LSU, Brian Kelly's a really good coach.
Yeah,
they have so many new players. I think I saw a stat that they have like the most production. Remember, they had a bowl game with a wide receiver playing quarterback. Now, granted, you fixed some of that stuff, and you got obviously a good quarterback. Really curious to see what we get from Jaden Daniels. Like, this is like the talent is all there. He just has not put that together yet. And obviously, you had a quarterback that just quit football, not being named a starter. It's been a weird couple of weeks for them. So, yeah, I struggle with that game. Not fading you, just kind of stay away from me.
All right, that's fair.
I have a Thursday night game. So this is another controversial take. We record on Wednesdays. People may listen on Fridays. Am I allowed to have a Thursday night game in there?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So Purdue, which is now +3.5 versus Penn State. O'Connell can play. Went to my high school, by the way. No big deal.
Bragger.
Locally here. Yeah. I think this is a terrible place to start a season if you're Penn State, is it not? Like, Purdue is, we are children of chaos. Purdue is a child of chaos. They love this kind of matchup. I think Purdue is going to be really, really tough home field for them. And I still have a lot of questions about Penn State.
I honestly need producer Matt to find, I will actually send it to him, the BR betting tweet about this game.
Okay.
It is so incredibly funny. It is a meme that's made out of a scene from Moneyball, the Oakland A's movie.
Yeah.
It is so good. I'm just going to let producer Matt put it up here for those who haven't seen it. But it basically supports what you are saying right now. And I absolutely will sprinkle on this. I hope my stepdad is not listening to this episode because he's a big Penn State fan. But I think I'm going to sprinkle here. I think I'm going to go with you on this and just sprinkle. It won't be a lock for me, but it'll be a sprinkle.
Okay. Yeah, and it's Thursday night, so you have to bet on it, right? Like
yeah, why not?
It's a great night to bet. All right, what else do you have? Let's go to Oregon because we both have picks on this game.
Okay.
But we have different picks. So what do you have in Oregon, Georgia?
Oregon, Georgia. I'm taking Oregon +17. Is it 17.5 now?
No, but I was going to look at the money line, actually. That's what I'm searching. It's 17.
What's the money line?
+625.
You know what?
That's not a lock. We're not going to lock. That's not a fair lock.
That's not a lock. That's a sprinkle. That's a sprinkle.
That's a sprinkle. I think +625 is actually kind of a delightful sprinkle. That could go horribly wrong.
Horribly wrong. But then again, like realistically speaking, you could put very little on that sprinkle and still make some good money.
Yeah.
And if you pair it with them covering, then
that's exactly how you do. You just reinforce it. Like just load it up.
Go all in. The opposite of hedging.
Well, we can have money on every aspect of this game then because I like the under 52.5. And I think the under, by the way, favored if the under comes in, I think Oregon has a shot, obviously. These defenses are both top 5, top 10 in football. You know, I don't know what kind of game we're going to see. I thought this total would be somewhere in the high 40s. Like, it just seems like way too many points. Again, a lot of respect for the talent on both sides from a defensive standpoint. So we have both of those games, and we may have a plus 625, which is massive.
Which feels good.
Okay, so you have... Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm going to get a little weird with this one. I got absolutely obliterated by the over last week and taking it, which I knew was going to happen. So this week I am going to take the SMU UTEP under 69. Nice. I honestly think I'm going to get back on the saddle with under overs here because I need to figure something out. I really need to figure something out. That was kind of a bad way to put that with the spread itself there, or the number itself, but it's fine.
No, it's perfect. It started poorly with me trying to, help out Municipal and talking about weird stuff. And that's now, is this the biggest total on the board? I'm quickly scanning. There's 69.
It looks like it. 61.
By the way,
for Rice USC.
Hold on. I'm looking here. I'm still searching. You wrote down. Oh, hold on. I've got to help out here, though. UTEP's playing Oklahoma.
What?
This is why. It's SMU North Texas.
Oh, North Texas. That would be more helpful. Thank you for checking, though.
Well, this is why I threw myself off, because I made a reference to UTEP earlier. They're like the same program, so it doesn't matter.
North Texas. I think because I bet North Texas last week, and I was like, I bet them last week, and then I think I bet UTEP. Hold on, let me look.
No, that is like the...
so I bet North Texas...
The same football teams.
I bet North Texas, UTEP. So they played each other last week, so that is why I looked at it and went, UTEP, even though it's North Texas. Thank you for clarifying.
I was getting a little on tilt during that UTEP North Texas game. I think North Texas went down like 7-0 super early. First tilt of the football season. I missed
that over by like a little bit. And then I got a push on the other under over that I picked.
You started off last year with overs. You were on fire.
Yeah.
And then it got into like a very like dark, winding place with the overs and the unders. Remember that? Like even into the bowl season.
I tried to correct it. I need to figure out my theory here. My system. But yeah, last week I bet Wyoming, Illinois over 44. It was exactly 44. And then North Texas, UTEP over 55 last week. And what was the score of that game? Let's look. I'm pretty sure
it was. Yes. I forget what it was, but it was not.
It was not as high scoring of a game. 31-13.
Yeah.
Close enough.
That was a nice, easy, not easy.
But anyway.
That was a good one.
But yes, my lock for this week is SMU North Texas under 69.
Nice. Arkansas -6.5 versus Cincinnati. I do want to talk about this line too. It's done some weird stuff. I think it was at 6, came down to 4, now up to 6.5. It seems like it feels like there's some steam on Arkansas as the week progresses. I talked about the game earlier. I just think Arkansas is better, really good, and Cincinnati. Like this is the time to catch Cincinnati. They lose so much. Like last year's team was really good. Like it's a testament to that. I felt good about this one for the jump. I'm realizing a lot of the games, Paige, that I pick for locks, the side that I'm on, the number has gone up, which is a little concerning. I am not.
Did the Arkansas game go up?
I bet that game. So I'm on the right side of the number in terms of my money, but publicly, like I feel like I'm missing some. This happens so much. I write the locks of the week. They're on Thursday. So you have to accept it. Wednesday night, the lines are what they are. But I start to get like opinions on these games Monday or Tuesdays when they like crystallize. The lines sometimes move 2 or 3 points. I'm just feel bad for me is what I'm saying. Like feel bad for me as I establish these opinions and try to publish these things and make winners. So I think that's it. That's all of them, right?
Nope,
so
we've got one more.
Oh, the biggie. The last but not least.
I am taking Ohio State -17 versus Notre Dame. I'm doing it because I'm taking Oregon to cover, so I gotta at least, And what's weird is I'm usually not a big if it's a big spread, I stay completely away from it. Only in college, not in NFL, actually. But yeah, I think, like I said before, I think that Ohio State's going to roll, and I think it's going to be a good starting point for the year. Although I did say, if it is a close game, go ahead and sprinkle on Ohio State future for national championship, because people will write them off.
I'm already there. I'm already there.
Just double down, and I'll double down on my Notre Dame one.
That's what I did with Georgia last year. I just kept betting them, even when they lost in the SEC championship game. What could possibly go wrong? All right, so, and then final picks. So I forget what I picked for my playoff, but I have Ohio State. You have Alabama. I think there's a very good chance those two teams meet. Do you have a Heisman picked out?
I do not have a Heisman bet.
So I think I've gone through I think Stroud's going to win. Basically, it's
You're Ohio State. Okay.
I'm Ohio State. Like, that's how it's going to go, which wasn't how Georgia was last year, because there wasn't like that guy. Stetson Bennett wasn't that guy for me. But I'm very curious to see, does Will Anderson have a chance? Like, do you think he has an actual chance to win as we sit here on the eve of the start of week 1? I want to see what the final Heisman odds, all this future betting talk.
I do think he has a chance. I really do. I think between draft discussion and just the success of the team, and if there's going to be a player to do it, it's going to be a guy that's on Alabama defensively. And I think obviously there will be the discussion of Bryce Young, but I personally think this could be the year for Will Anderson to do it.
I know somebody, yes.
I mean, Devontae Smith got it without even, he didn't really have the hype until you said it. And it was a couple weeks into the season. So we already started the hype train early for non-quarterbacks to win that award.
The people that I've talked to around that program think Will Anderson's actually significantly better than he was last year.
Which is wild.
Significantly better. Which is insane to me. I want him to win. If you're asking me who I'd like to see win, the answer is Will Anderson.
Yeah, me too. Any other bets you want to share with the class before we move into random things we want to talk about?
I have one. I don't know if we talked about this or not, but there's one special bet on DraftKings. Alabama and Ohio State to both have 11 plus regular season wins. Yes, minus 120. Are you taking that?
Yep.
Me too. It actually feels like a really good bet.
See you in the national championship.
I know. That's kind of where I'm at.
But
yes. So that's it. So week 1 is a wrap. Now we get to talk about random things.
I have one for you. Actually, I have multiple things that I would like to talk about, but one specifically that I wanted to just tell you about.
Yes.
I know we've discussed you getting on TikTok.
Oh boy.
But I think I know what could possibly get you there. And there is something called O-line TikTok. And it is these guys like in their stance doing drills. And it's just fantastic content. So I know you love big dude content. Big guy content. So
I do.
I'm thinking that maybe we get you signed up for TikTok to watch it. If you haven't found O-line TikTok and you're on it, everyone else needs to watch. But I think this would be the final thing to get Kramer on it.
This is the best sell that we've ever had.
Okay.
To do it. So I'm very interested.
Okay.
I need to do it. I think I have it downloaded. Let me see if I have it downloaded. This is probably something I did after a pod where I was like, I'm gonna do it. And then never figured it out.
And didn't commit to it.
Is it on my phone? No, it is not.
It is not. Okay.
I am going to download
your
TikTok
Droid, which
right
by
now.
the way, we also, if I could get you to switch to an iPhone, that's something I just would like. If everyone listening to this podcast, if you send Kramer a DM, please make it be about him getting an iPhone.
Fair.
That would be excellent.
Like my Nebraska takes and my responses, I'm installing TikTok right now. It has 1 billion downloads, like 1 billion installs.
Yeah.
With a B.
Yes. I cannot wait for you to get just absolutely addicted to it and see the content that's on there.
No, I'm excited about that.
Another thing I had on the agenda, like I think a couple weeks ago, but we didn't actually talk about, was betting on soccer. So I have become a Premier League fan, and I just want to say, one, humble brag, the team that I chose to be a fan of in the Premier League is now 5-0 to start the season and has had like a shit few years. So I'm not saying it's me, but I'm not saying it's me. You know what I mean? So, and I'm notorious for bandwagon magic. So Arsenal, if you would like to have me at one of your games, is good luck. I'm totally in. But I have never bet on soccer, and I feel like maybe we should start because we know, I mean, I know a lot about the sport itself because I played it when I was younger, but not in terms of like all of the things that go into it because there's just so much on an international level. But I feel like I would say we're less knowledgeable about soccer than we are about American football. So I feel like maybe we should dabble.
I played soccer as well. Love soccer. Like all my good friends a lot of them played soccer, college, you name it. So soccer, I've always.
Illinois has a good men's soccer team, right?
Oh yeah. No, we've got some good. I just haven't followed it on a club team level.
Yeah.
To a point, but will I get all like lathered up for the World Cup? Yeah. Yeah. I will do that. But
which happens in the fall this year. So we are really going to have some good content betting wise. But I feel like maybe we should dabble in the soccer gambling.
I love your ability to just like with F1 and this. I mean, you just glide very gracefully into new endeavors. For me, I'm clumsily like a bull in a china shop, like mispronouncing names, which we always do, and stuff like that. But like your ability to do it is great, and you commit to it. That's the other thing. You're not just like signing up and then quitting. Like you're in. When you're in, you decide like you're committed to doing it for the long haul.
I always say I'm not a half-asser. I'm a whole-asser. I do everything whole
into soccer. Yes.
It's because I have a very obsessive personality when it comes to like things that I care about. So if I decide that I'm doing something, like it becomes, I got to know all of the information about it. And that's how like, I think that's why I started working in sports is because and how I fell in love with college football. Like I started working on college football. Went to a college basketball school. So I covered college basketball for Bleacher Report and college football was part of that. And then I just became obsessed with the sport and learning all about it. And I feel like that's how I have been with like soccer and F1 and all of their sports. Like I feel like that's just like sort of how I became that sports page. That sounds so cheesy. I'm sorry that I did that. But anyway, it's true. Speaking of F1, if you are a Ferrari fan, I am sorry. That's all I have to say about that. And also I just want Daniel Ricciardo to stay in the sport. It's stressful. I need you to get caught up because I need to talk to you about the drama. It's so much.
I need to get caught up. Although now it's going to be impossible. I saw a movie this weekend that I wanted. Have you seen Nope yet?
Nope, but I want to see it.
Very good. I enjoyed it immensely. Perfectly toned, a mix of emotions. Like I don't even know how to rate a movie like this because it's just a wonderful ride. Like I really, really enjoyed it. In fact, I had Saturday night when the football games were getting kind of boring. I had the football games in my basement. I got the 3 screens. So yes. I had the 2:45s with football, and then I was watching Nope. Like, would highly recommend. Like, very, very highly movie recommendation.
Love that. Yes. I told you actually called me while I was watching this. I watched the Manti Te'o doc.
Yes.
I can't recommend it enough because even being like a lot of the docs that this maybe is a sign that I'm getting old. A lot of the docs that come out, I like don't remember a lot of it because I was pretty young, like on sports stuff. This I remember because I was in college when it happened. And I guess I just like didn't realize the depth of what it was because there were so many memes about this. I just took it as like I was part of the crew that was making jokes about it because like we just thought it was funny that he had an imaginary girlfriend. But like there were so many layers to this after watching that documentary. I mean, I was like super emotional watching the documentary. I feel awful for him that this happened. And I don't know that many people would have made it through this situation the way that he did because of the person that he is. But all the respect in the world to Manti Te'o because that situation was so incredibly sad in the sense of it really changed who he was as a person and as a player and had so many levels to it than just being catfished. that were incredibly eye-opening in this doc. So I recommend that to anyone, and shout out Manti Te'o because damn.
I was thinking about watching it tonight.
Yes.
I remember when this happened, I was at BR, obviously infancy.
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, it was very strange. It was like we were not really like, not necessarily not talking about it, but we didn't write about it. Like nobody knew how to process this type of situation to put it together in a piece. I remember thinking like, how the hell am I going to write about this? Like how would you, if you were asked to write about it, what would you write? I didn't know what catfishing was like at the time.
Yeah.
I obviously wait, what? And then there's like the way it was reported with Deadspin.
Yes.
Is this real? Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited to watch, although it's like one of those docs that like you do feel bad because his life was, I don't want to say ruined. He got drafted. He
fell though. Like, I mean,
he fell, but I think that was more to his abilities than this. I think I haven't seen the doc. Maybe they tackle that. But I do think what the takeaway that I seem to get from this is it does feel like an actual redemption that like, if you watch this, even whether you do or whatnot, people are going to look at him differently, and whatever was lost throughout all this, it seems like he's getting back, which probably too little too late, honestly, but it does seem like this thing has a soul, and it seems like there's a lot of honesty.
Yeah.
It's wild to think about, though. I can't believe this actually happened in real life.
It's crazy also because, like, one of the main takeaways that Deadspin actually, they talk about in the documentary a little bit, spoiler, is that they didn't want this story to be about Manti Te'o and him being tricked into thinking that this was his girlfriend. They wanted it to be about the fact that, like, people covered this story, like, large outlets covered the story of his grandmother and girlfriend dying, and nobody picked up on the fact that this girlfriend wasn't real. Like, nobody did fact checking, and the main one was ESPN. And as someone who has questioned ESPN's integrity on lots of things that they've reported, this in particular was very shocking. And I think to this day, like, looking back on it, like, of course, catfishing was relatively new, but we focused on the fact that, like, Manti Te'o this girl wasn't real, instead of, like, they covered this story at length. Yahoo, Sports Illustrated, ESPN, everybody. And not one person did a Google search and realized that they couldn't find this person.
That has, as someone who writes feature stuff, like, that is haunting.
It's wild to think about. Like, knowing that, because, like, in the industry that we're in and the work that we do, like, that would never happen today. But because also, like, that wouldn't have blown up the way that it did if we didn't cover that. So if someone would have uncovered it sooner, I feel like it wouldn't have affected Manti as much. I mean, in the sense of, like, draft stuff, conversation stuff, and sort of people thinking that was him covering it up. I think it would have been less of a deal if we didn't cover it so intensely. I say we because I do, like, take responsibility for the media being incompetent there.
Yeah, I
even
agree.
though I wasn't even working in media yet. I mean, kind of, but yeah, it's a wild situation that, like, nobody did enough research to realize that she wasn't real for as long as this was a public story. And it blew up. It was on everything. It wasn't even just on sports news. It was on regular news.
I picked Notre Dame to beat Alabama in the national championship.
You picked Alabama or Notre Dame?
Sorry, I picked Notre Dame.
You picked Notre Dame? Oh, yeah. They show clips of it.
That's the worst pick I've ever had. I did, like, truly, Paige, find a worse pick than that.
I will.
Like, in a bigger spot. Like, actually,
Nebraska
last week.
Having a droid over an iPhone, that's the worst pick you've ever
made. Scott Frost.
Does Caitlin have an iPhone?
No.
Okay.
You're gonna keep digging into this.
I am.
This is like
I'm gonna find a way. Well, anyway, the random stuff really gets us going too.
It does. It is. I'm so excited. It is week 1. Like, it starts. Like, this is that's the.
We're in it.
It is a grind. We are in it. Again, game day upset. Hashtag us.
Hashtag us. Game day upset.
What's your biggest upset going to be? municipal merch, which I'm hoping to be wearing next week, assuming.
No punts 20 arrived. To get 20% off. So definitely use that. Use us, guys. We want you to use us. We're open to it. And with that, I'm Paige. For Adam, we're just, that's it. Goodbye.